Welcome to the Reveal It All podcast, where we are celebrating strength and the power of shared stories. I am your host, Victorious23. In my 20s, I beat breast cancer twice. And in this space, I am breaking down the barriers and getting so real about women's health. We'll be diving into conversations about survivorship, mental health, and self-care, along with tips on looking and feeling your best because, babe, you are lethal. It's all about learning to stride in your thrive. Together, by sharing our experiences, we grow stronger and more resilient. So let's reveal it all and strive together. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my very first episode of the new season for Reveal It All podcast. I am your girl, your host, Victorious23, otherwise known as Laura. Follow me on As Told by Laura, and also make sure you are for sure following the Reveal It All pod. I am so excited to be back on the airways, and I first need to give a huge apology. I'm not going to do too much. I'm going to keep my ting quite brief, but I love you guys, and I am very thankful for the opportunity to even have this space and commune with friends and family and listeners and thrivers and survivors who have also found support in this space. I want to apologize for the dead air, and it has been some dead air, but again, quite frankly, keeping my ting brief, summered, wintered, dirty Decembered, and then wintered, spring sprang, and summered again in 2024. And here we are meeting right before October of 2024. I'm just excited to be here 1 year out. There is so much to share with you guys, and I want to apologize for the dead air, but I only want to be a vessel of information in this space. And I cannot be a vessel of information, you guys, when I am overworked, overwhelmed, stressed out, and also in the process of figuring out my own stride. But now that I feel like I'm very much in my stride, you guys, it's only going to be up from here. So my Reveal It All family, get ready to feel the favor and to feel victorious. I, in the past year, have sat down with myself, have stopped overthinking, and I'm ready to pour into this space and to give you guys gems, tips on how Victorious23 is thriving. How is she able to catch a flight and go to Morocco and then bounce to Lagos and then do Miami and then do all this stuff? Yeah, we're going to get into it. But first, before I get too carried away and catch you guys up on all of the happenings, I want to do a brief reintroduction for anyone that might be new here. So let me first start by sharing that I am a self-care and a wellness advocate. I am a 2-time breast cancer survivor. I've had to beat breast cancer twice before the age of 30. Much of my 20s was consumed by me completely needing to pivot my lifestyle and understanding a way more intentional way of living. When chronic illness kind of comes into your orbit, a lot of things are now reprioritized. And my journey through survivorship has for sure shaped how I approach health and wellness, which is why I am so passionate about self-care. This season for me, on the Reveal It All podcast, I am going to be introducing a series called My 23 Moments of Wellness. We might honestly go over 23, but let's just first start there. The series is going to launch this October, which is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a time that means so much to me personally as a 2-time survivor. My goal with this series is simple. I want to inspire you to embrace wellness in every part of your life. Each episode, I'm going to focus on specific wellness tips or routines that I personally have started in my everyday life. I'm hoping that these will also help you too. Okay, let's kick things off with a quick check-in where V23, Victorious23 is today, and then we'll jump into the episode. It's only appropriate that I kind of start the timeline from where I left off. And literally, we are 1 year out from me getting my breast augmentation surgeries. I got a breast lift on the right side so it could match the left side. The left side is where I got all of my mastectomy and reconstruction done. So just so my listeners are reminded and have awareness. I definitely want to just first say 1 year out, you are still healing. And I'm speaking to you that's listening, but I'm also speaking to myself. We are still healing. 1 year out. There are months, weeks, times that I still wake up very swollen. There are months, days, times that I am just out of energy, depleted, in fact. There are months, times, hours that I feel very much in a funk and I just don't know how to get out and what to do next. And then there are also times where I'm just totally comfortable bed rotting all day. I am just going to be so honest with you guys. I really believe that my emotions are still up and down. My energy levels are still up and down. And there's still a lot that just hasn't calibrated yet. But what I will share is that I have found so many moments of graduations, as I call them, just mini graduations all over the place. Like the first time I was able to get through a yoga flow. You know, this was a celebration for me. Someone who is quite active, and I've always been active in my life. I've always played sports. I've always, I played soccer all of my life since I was 6, football, whatever we're calling it. I just have always been active. So movement has never been an issue for me. But, as you get older and you start working more and you're now just sitting at the desk after a pandemic, it's a lot. It's a lot that your body, without you cognitively even noticing, you're putting yourself through. I am 1 year out and observe so much that my body has gone through. Grace is the word of the year. We are 1 year out, and although the bandages are no longer there, we are still healing internally. We are still having to practice therapies. We are still rebuilding strength. There are ligaments, tissues, things that were torn apart that are just now rebinding. I am 1 year out working on now blemishes and scar tissue and things of that nature. Like I wasn't focused on blemishes and scar tissue when things were healing. I was just praying that they would heal. I was just praying that the tissues would reconnect, the nerves would work again, the sensations would be there if they were to be any. These are the things that I prayed on. And 1 year out, so grateful to God. Like first, number one, praise break. Because only God can do it. 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 Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Like, only God. When I tell you this body has gone through so much in 1 year, you guys don't even know, because I didn't post the videos of me having to learn how to reposition my posture to walk straight again. Like top of last year, not last year, but a year and a half ago, I was not able to stand straight, walk straight. Y'all don't know that. Y'all don't understand the gravity of it. Like having to learn how to stand straight and walk straight again after you are in your late 20s. Like this is something, it's hard to even have the concept of if it doesn't happen to you. Extendo grabbers and things like that to like pick up things off the floor and pick up things by my bedside because I was instructed I am not allowed to bend. No bending. No bending over. 1 year later, we're able to bend over. 1 year later, we can bend, touch our toes. We could do it all. 1 year later, we are able to walk straight. 1 year later, we're able to go up and down stairs without feeling out of breath. 1 year later, we're able to play tennis and swing a serve and a backhand and a front serve and all the things and have total mobility. These are the things that I am celebrating 1 year later. My mobility is something that I absolutely am so thankful about. When I selected my surgery option, mobility was something I had in mind and wanted to prioritize. I was given an option originally that was going to completely hinder my mobility, like completely slice me up from the back shoulder blade to the middle of my back. And I was just like, this doesn't work for me. And I told that doctor that. That doctor didn't want to hear me out until I found another one that did. Just moving forward and sharing just where I am 1 year out, it is still a journey of advocacy. It is still a journey of healing, and it is still a journey of recovery. I am focused on now, more of the topical things, where I also am still very focused on the internal things, but we're not so much focused on, making sure things are closed up and sealed and not oozing. We're now just focusing more on now the cosmetic part of the journey. And I'm just so blessed to even be able to share that in my community and in my space. And should you have any questions for me personally as Victorious 23 on how I'm able to even navigate in the following spaces that I've shared 1 year out, just shoot me a message, a DM, a text, whatever. I am so happy to share with you guys how I've gotten out of some of these spaces to the best of my ability. And I'm just your ordinary girl. I'm your ordinary babe. And so I'm just going to keep it so 100 with you guys. And that is the reason why I created this space, just to reveal it to you. So whatever you need help with, whatever you need assistance on, whatever you have questions about, feel free to ask. And also, I too want to lean into my community because I don't also have all the answers, y'all. I'm just a survivor that is currently in stride. We are still figuring out the stride. So also, you being my community, know that you can also provide me with insights, with information that can aid me along my journey in any way. I ask for it, I'm open to it, and I love y'all. So let's get into the episode. Let me first start by being so frank with you guys. I am in my wellness revolution. Like, that's what I'm just going to call this. It is my wellness revolution. And I guess I need to describe and define what that is. But I guess let's first start with, let's talk about wellness, right? So wellness isn't just about looking good and working out as we know it. It is way deeper than that. And so I'm going to define wellness specifically in the categories of nourishing the mind, nourishing the body, and nourishing the spirit. For me, it has become a revolution of wellness when I realized that wellness was actually essential in my survivorship and in my healing as Victorious 23. I'm going to take it into a deeper level here. When performing a personal self-exam is where I identified an abnormality in my breast that was a tumor that needed to be removed and saved my life. Early detection, again, ladies and gentlemen, is saving lives second by second, day by day. And what that really is a testament to is you observing how crucial it is to prioritize your wellness and to prioritize self-care. And I promise you that the practice of wellness in every element of life is going to guide you to a destiny of victory. I got the victory, the victory. I spent time with myself. I prioritized self-care. There was that good quote that my good sis Issa said about 2 years ago. It's me season. And a lot of us took that me season and we ran with that. Everybody had their own narrative tied to the meaning of what me season meant. When you are intentionally prioritizing your mental, your body, your spirit, and prioritizing wellness, you're going to have to be in a state of me season. You're going to have to be in a state of solely focusing on self. That is where I am at when I reflect. I'm in my wellness revolution. Every one of those areas I'm pouring into because I have understood how necessary it is in surviving not just cancer, but even just surviving life. As a woman, you have to put self-care first. It has to be top of your priority list. You cannot pour into any other avenue in life if you are not watered down and nourished. So pour into you first, baby. So my good sis Issa, she was definitely on to gold with that. But make sure that you're prioritizing the right things so that you can get into your stride of victory and we can be thriving together. Don't you get it? So I just wanted to share how deep it is for me personally when I share how important it is to prioritize self-care, because that act of performing a self-exam and just sitting with my body and acknowledging an abnormality literally saved my life, you guys. Like, I need for you guys to hold on to this information and understand how valuable it is for you to, again, be a vessel in your community. Pay it forward. I was taught how to take care of myself from a family member and a friend and from my mother and other women around me. And that is the reason I'm able to take things into my own control. So as someone who has gone through some tough health battles, I now understand fully that wellness means creating a space for me, creating a space for my mental peace, for my physical health. It's why I've made it my mission, to be honest. It's why I've made it my mission to inspire others, especially women, to do the same. Now let's talk about my 23 Moments of Wellness series. I'm so excited to be honestly creating a series where I am going to be feeding you guys gems. Victorious 23 is full of different tips, tricks, hacks, and a bunch of things that have really helped me in my stride in my survivorship. And so I'm so glad and I'm so happy again to have this space to really contribute to my community in some capacity. So please follow along, subscribe to the podcast. If you are not currently subscribed and you're listening, baby, what are we doing? What are we doing? You're not going to know when I drop the next one if you are not following. So hit the subscribe on whatever platform you're currently listening to me on. Make sure you're also following us on social media because I'm going to definitely be dropping out content on our Reveal It All pod channel as well as my personal channel, As Told by Laura. And we're definitely going to have some more episodes where we're going to go deeper into detail about each of these self-care and wellness habits that I have fully just absorbed into my lifestyle at this point for my survival. So let's jump into the first 5. Stay tuned. The first thing I do every morning is I start with a morning meditation. And this can be a huge game changer for the person who is stuck in the habit of you wake up, you pick up your phone, you're reading emails, you're responding back to text messages, you're checking your socials, you're doing all of the things to connect with outside world, but you haven't even connected with self yet. This is going to be a game changer. Okay. I promise you. I think that I start my morning probably with about 5 to 10 minutes doing some lymphatic draining. You know, I've learned about that. So I tap my neck, I tap my shoulders, I tap my armpits, I tap my stomach, I tap my hips, I tap behind my kneecaps, and I do 10 jumps up and down. I repeat this a few times, and I often am doing the lymphatic draining practices like as I'm literally brushing my teeth or as I'm like washing my face. All right. This is the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning. The second thing is if I'm jumping to a shower immediately, this is probably my most common place for meditation. If that's TMI, I'm sorry, but my bathroom is probably my sanctuary at this point. I wake up in the morning and I instantly go there, right? I go to relieve myself, but then I also go to just take on the day. But before I take on the day, I take a moment of stillness to really do like a body scan. So the lymphatic draining is like body scan. Then I'm checking where I am mentally. How am I feeling today? Am I sad? Am I happy? Whatever it is. Am I just feeling like I have low energy today? And if I notice these things, it completely helps me to map out my day better. I promise you, just being still for 5 to 10 minutes to start your day, that's all you need. And when we talk about meditation, I'll be very specific. For me, I'm a faith-based Christian. God is who I believe in and who I confide in. I spend my time in my bathroom while I'm in the shower. I'll throw on like a 5-10 minute morning prayer video on YouTube, which are excellent. Highly recommend. I'll throw some channels that I currently listen to up on my social media so you guys can tap into some of the links that I've really enjoyed lately. But throw on one of those morning motivationals and 5 to 10 minutes, you being in stillness, whether you're in stillness not doing anything or you're just in stillness and silence because you're just going through your morning routine, you're doing your self-care, you're taking your shower, you're shaving your legs, you're whatever the case is, you're doing your lymphatic draining. As you're doing all of that, being in stillness, being in silence and in a meditative state, I promise you, this helps to clear your mind. This helps you to be present. This helps you identify what you need in the day and manage your stress levels with anything that honestly comes from the start of your day up until the end of your day. And if you've tried it and it's worked out for you, please let me know that meditation is something that you actually subscribe to. I would love to hear how you guys are sailing and winning in this area. Meditation is something I prioritize. For me, it could be prayer. For me, it looks like stillness. And for me, it's in my bathroom sanctuary. Next up is daily movement. Let's get into it, okay? Now, I have hinted at how imperative it was for me to work on my posture and standing up straight after my deep flap surgery. Y'all don't understand. Your girl was walking around with a cane, okay? I didn't need to get a walker, but some people need walkers after the surgery that I have gone through. Literally, they are hanging over because the abdominal work is so much that they can't stand straight. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Okay, I just keep repeating myself because this is what I actually have lived through and gone through. So when I tell you how important movement is, please take it from a girl who literally in her 20s had to teach herself how to fix her posture and stand back straight and walk in those pumps like the rest of the other 20-year-old that have never had to experience a chronic illness or had to deal with having to rebuild their life after beating cancer. Okay. All right. Let me dial it back down because I feel like, some of my trauma is flaring up in my voice again, but all right, bringing it back down. Level 3. Movement does not mean having to spend 3 hours in the gym. Okay. Let me just be very clear. It could simply be in the form of a walk, a beautiful walk in the park, on a trail, down the street, to the corner stop sign and back to your front door. All right. Movement is critical for physical health, something that my doctors often, especially my plastic surgeon who did a lot of the invasive surgery, and also my breast surgeon who did my mastectomy work. Every single one of them, including the nurses, all included in my discharge paperwork that I need to focus on movement. I need to try my best to walk. I need to try my best to get on my feet. I need to try my best to activate all these things. And truly, it is really them encouraging you moving. I might have jumped around a little bit there, but movement is so imperative. They're putting those air compression sleeves on you while you're in the hospital bed to create a simulation of movement in your body, to move your blood around. I will actually share with my community, I bought myself an air compression leg sleeve machine. I have one. I bought it on Amazon. I didn't spend $500 on mine, but I bought this because I, again, was aware in my journey, I'm not going to obviously be as mobile as I was prior to this surgery. So how can I continue to make sure I'm in motion? I did walks. I didn't run. I can tell you right now, I was not running, walking. I wasn't sprinting at all the first 3-4 months. It was just a walk. And when I say a walk, I'm not talking about I went on a mile. I'm telling you, I played one song on my Hot Girl Walk playlist and I was back in the house shortly after. And when I say that's a graduation, baby, that's a graduation because you weren't walking a day ago, or you didn't walk as fast as you did yesterday. Or how about, listen, you just got outside and got some air today. These are all things that are going to be so crucial in your wellness journey, things that we take for granted so much. There are people that what I often am reminded of in, again, the practice also of gratitude, which is another part of the wellness journey, is when you identify how far you've come, there's so much that you are grateful for. And there's so much that you then acknowledge and you thank God for, that your position is not somewhere else. I am so grateful when I reflect on my journey, even though I had to retrain myself and my posture to walk. There are people that are in walkers after surgery. That was not my testimony. When I had to now decide I want to get outside the house, I could get down my stairs and I could walk out my house and walk out the door to do so. There are people that after dealing with a chronic illness, during dealing with their illness, after dealing with their illness, are clinically restrained, confined. They do not have the power physically to lift themselves up and to walk around. So I took that as a sign every single morning, especially when I took time in my meditation. And my meditation was a time for me to just sit and talk with God and to thank him and to observe the journey ahead and observe where my body was that day. I also took time to observe, Lord, I'm standing. Lord, I'm walking. Lord, I'm actually able to position myself. I'm able to move today. And so never take for granted. And I remind myself, even on the days that I'm just like, I didn't go to the gym today, never take for granted movement. Even if it's you just bringing your blood pressure up for 5 minutes, twerking 5 minutes, dancing 5 minutes. Movement does not need to be in the gym. Movement can be a walk. Movement can be a twerk dance routine. There's a few of them that I actually really like on YouTube, and I'm definitely happy to share with my community. Again, make sure you're subscribed and you're following, because I will share all of my links to success as well if you join the community. Let's jump into the third item here, which is skincare, baby. Skincare is the third self-care practice that okay, we're going to talk about this so much here on the Reveal It All podcast because your girl is a warrior. She has her own wounds, okay? But I don't even call them wounds anymore. I really call these battle scars my beauty marks. They are my beauty marks. They are a reminder of my beauty, my essence, how strong I am, how, again, lethal I am, how much of a beast I am, the things that I have conquered. And again, humble yourself and remind yourself of your journey and who you are and the many that are not currently in the fight. So give grace and honor to who you are, your being, your temple, and where you're at today, no matter what the diagnosis is. Okay, now let's get back on track. And skincare have always been something that I have subscribed to. But in this survivorship, we have now entered a whole new ring. Okay, ding, ding, ding. Round one. Let's talk about our battle wounds. Let's talk about them. And I don't really like to call them battle wounds. You know, when I see my scars, I often like to call them beauty marks because it is. And it should be. And I encourage you to actually practice this, warrior. Stand in that mirror and let's do some mirror work. Look at that scar and observe the fact that the devil tried it and missed. I'm not going to take it easy on my head. Not going to take it easy on my head. Stand in that mirror, babe, and observe the fact that that scar is the reality that you are still here. Observe the fact how strong, how much of a warrior, how much of a beast you are. And let me also add this. Let me add this. We are in the 21st century. Cosmetic surgery is something else. And guess what? We have science and technology that can support you to get you to that cosmetic place that you're seeking. So remember at the top of this conversation, I told you about the important part 1 year out is grace and patience with yourself. That's going to be imperative in the skincare journey as well. 1 year out of surgery and dealing with scar tissue, all of that is something that I am actively in my journey of repair and recovery. I am using new creams. I am trying new routines out, and I am going to be documenting all of the things that are working well for me and all of the things that I'm throwing in the garbage. This is something I feel very passionate about because all of us warriors have these battle wounds and we all don't like to look at them every single day. We should not have to be reminded what we went through. But if you have the option and if it is something that you really do want to improve, creating a skincare routine is going to get you to your goal. All forms, let me be very clear, African skincare specifically, okay? I'm talking shea butter, baby. I'm talking vitamin E. I'm talking tea tree. And when I say skin, we can also get into the conversation of nails because what chemo did to my nails was actually so disrespectful. None of them fell off, but chemo can get you to a place where your nails, it is tissue. It is broken down by the drugs, by the chemo, by the therapies. And you'll need to start from scratch. How do you do that? You have to rebuild the skin. So creating that skincare routine, my love, is going to become an act of self-love for you. Give yourself time, give yourself grace, allow yourself patience. It will show up over time. Like, come on, the wrinkles don't show up in a day. It shows up over time, right? So to heal those things, it's going to happen over time. So have that as part of your theory. When you're thinking about your skincare routine, right? You're not going to see immediate results. This is something that takes time. Let's touch on hydration, because this is also a very important part of wellness. Hydration, staying hydrated. Now, skin hydration, yes, but I also am talking about just your body, right? So hydration is in the form of taking care of your body by putting plenty of water into your body. We're made of water. We need to replenish it. So we always need water. We also need fuel, okay? That is nourishment. That is hydration. So keeping us fueled with the right foods and the right nutrition, the right active ingredients that we need based on our specific body needs. Fuel your body to stay hydrated. Some important things that I for sure have changed in my daily habit. Number one, I've switched to alkaline water. And we can have a debate, but let's be very, very, very clear on this. Living in America, your tap water ain't clean. The tap ain't tap, okay? It is not fresh spring water. Unless you are living in Maine and you're able to literally go outside of your house and go to the riverbanks and collect water that is running from their mountain, right down their street, right down their driveway. You could collect water that's fresh, that's coming from the mountain, right? But anything that is in a bottle, especially plastic, we want to be cautious of. We are learning and observing that these plastic minerals are getting into our food. The chemicals are seeping into our water. It is a problem. Alkaline water is supposed to at least be a bit better, even though most of them are still inside of plastic bottles. We're still at least now getting healthier benefits in the water, like electrolytes and other things, versus us getting chlorine in the tap water. All right. Now there's no debate there. So yeah, let's just stay away from the tap and let's move forward with either a filtered option or an alkaline option for water. What I also have included into my day-to-day and my wellness care to hydrate my body. And as I mentioned, on the days that I just had no appetite, I didn't feel like eating, I just did not have it in me, I always made sure to have electrolytes in my diet. And I am not sponsored by this company, but I have loved Liquid IV from its infancy. I have been using it since 2022. I stand 10 toes down on it. All right. If I'm honest, I started with Gatorade and I bought the powder form so I wouldn't need to get just the juice form every time I went to the store. And it was very easy for me to pack to go water bottles with just the powder in it and fill it up whenever I felt like I was just losing energy, or I just felt like I needed just to pick up my energy or hydrate myself. Always had my water bottle of Gatorade powder on the go. But now I have these beautiful, small, very easy to carry around Liquid IV patches. I take it with me everywhere. All right. And again, this is not a sponsored moment, but I take Liquid IV with me everywhere. Even as I go on my travels, it is TSA approved. All right. Put that in your carry-on, put it in your backpack, take it with you. There is also just environments where you know for a fact you're going to lose water. Replenish yourself with something like a Liquid IV. Now, if all of those things are just like, nah, not into it, baby, the most natural way for you to get hydrated is to drink coconut water. And if I'm the first one to tell you that, so glad that I gave you that tip for free. And my number one rule, which is also another wellness tip, is the least amount of ingredients on the back of the label, the better the product, right? So if you're looking at a product and there's like 20 different ingredients on the back that also you can't name, I can guarantee you that that is not going to be good to consume. You might as well toss it in the bin. Bin it now. But it should really be 3 ingredients that makes lemonade. Because if I'm to make lemonade at home, I only need 3 ingredients, right? So if I'm looking at the back of a label and it's lemonade, but I'm reading 12 ingredients, something's off there. It's the same thing in every other avenue in life. If you're looking at the back of a label and there's just way too many ingredients on it, stay far away. The last but not least tip that I'm dropping this episode is going to be journaling. Now, journaling is one of my go-to practices for mental clarity. Writing down my thoughts has always been something that has really weathered a lot of storms for me and has actively been my way to manage my emotions, whether it's positive or negative, y'all. Like, again, writing down your thoughts is imperative. It truly does help the process of really to process your emotions, to process life and what you're currently going through. It also is just a great way to document your journey, right? There's just so much actively happening in our day to day and in society today. We are just too overstimulated. The overstimulation is at an all-time high, and it's not going to come down. The internet has just become a vehicle of just access. We are just way too overstimulated. So when it comes down to finding ways to minimize that, journaling has been that for me. I found that when I journal daily, it actually feels like it leaves space for me to now move into something else that's been on my mind or on my spirit. Like almost like I'm just able to relieve a load off of my plate. And so I don't know if that is how it is for anybody else, but for me, like journaling is that. Like I'm able to offload after I've written it out. And so I'm able to reflect on my journey as well when I'm journaling. I'm able to obviously document like where I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago as Victorious 23, and where I am today. You're not able to truly glorify your journey and marvel at how good you're doing if you aren't taking time in the present and in the past to write down and observe where you're at. So I encourage journaling. I've been introduced to it as I was a young girl, and it has always just remained a practice of self-care for me. So even when I don't want people to know my business, I'm a Scorpio. I'm very, very in my head, right? I don't want everybody to know my business. And so my journal, though, she knows all, and I trust her with all. It also can be a form of practice for like a prayer book or something, a gratitude journal. There's so many ways that you can definitely use this space of journaling to just document and clear your mind of all the things that are currently consuming you. So those are the first 5 of my 23 things that I'm doing for wellness and self-care. I definitely dropped a few extra in there, so y'all definitely got more than 5, but that's what you deserve. Like, you deserve it. You're welcome. We'll cover more in the future episodes to come, but for now, try incorporating 1 or 2 of these into your routine. Now, before we wrap up, I want to invite you to stay tuned for more episodes of 23 Moments of Wellness. So excited to continue this conversation with you guys. I've created this community, Reveal It All podcast, because I believe we have to close the gap of gatekeeping information. If I had known certain things earlier in my journey, in my womanhood journey, I can guarantee you I would have seen a difference. All right. That's why it's so important that we share in our health stories, in our challenges, and in our triumphs what the real tea is. We are so much stronger together. We have shared experiences that bind us, and our community can truly become and grow wiser and more resilient by just us revealing it all. So as I share my wellness journey with you, I encourage you too to share it with me, or you to just share yours in general as well, whether it's with a close friend, a family member, social media, or even if you are just encouraged to share it in this space. I really am creating a community here where we are finding strength in our stories. So please subscribe, follow, stay tuned. All right. But before we wrap, I need you to subscribe. All right. If you're loving the conversation, make sure you share it along with those that you know in your inner network that also are wellness conscious babes, those that are looking to be their best self. share this episode with them, all right? I'd love for you to join the conversation, share your wellness practices and your journey with me on social media using the hashtag Victorious Wellness. Let's build a space where we can inspire one another. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the very first episode of the new season and my first episode of the new series. I'll be seeing you next time, right? Because you're subscribed, right? All right. I love you guys so much. It feels so good to be back. Can't wait to dive into more tips in this series. And until next time, stay victorious. Love ya.